I'm with Mohammad Arafat, Information Minister in Sheikh Hasina's cabinet, and a very important voice in this interim period on social media and off it, putting forth the Awami League's point of view, telling us on X and on other social media platform what's been happening inside Bangladesh and also his party's plans. Mr. Arafat, thank you and welcome to the print.
Thank you. Thank you too for having me.
Thank you. Sir, I'll dive straight in. Elections have been announced in the first half of February by the interim government, and they have also said that there is no chance that Army League will participate in the polls. So, first reactions from you on this.
Well, the Yunus government is basically an illegal and unconstitutional government. They have basically seized power. So what they're supposed to do, they're doing it. What they say and what they do is totally, it's a gulf of difference that you will see. So they're basically empowering the jihadist and the Islamic extremist, and this is how they want to go ahead with, and they want to exclude the secular voice and the secular politics from the political landscape of Bangladesh. So therefore, they will try their best to exclude Awami League and to basically exterminate Awami League, and this is quite natural. So this is the basic fundamental equations that we see in our political fabric. So it is not unexpected from me. I never thought or expected that this government, who basically toppled us with the help of the jihadist and the extremist, and after coming and seizing power, backed by all these jihadists, they will by any means allow Awami League to come into the political environment in Bangladesh.
So, my question is what is the way forward for Army League then if the elections do happen? And if without Army League, the elections take place and the party is declared winner and that party goes on, whoever that is, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, the Jamaat, maybe the two of them together, they go on to, form a government. So, is it too early to decide or to tell us what the Army League's plans are in such a scenario?
Well, our plans are depending on the objective that you have set, the goals,
Right.
right? So we will definitely strategize our plan, and we'll move ahead with achieving that goal. Is to get the power back to the people, to return to
Right.
the democracy. This is what
Right.
the goal that we have, and uh, because unelected group of people with no mandate whatsoever from the people, they have seized power, and they're basically going ahead with a one-sided, pre-arranged and rigged election, but they want to empower the right-wing forces and the extremist forces, excluding Awami League and all of its allies, and not only Awami League, also Jatiya Party and
Jatiya
their
Party, yeah.
14 party
14
alliances,
party
all the
alliance.
smaller parties, which are basically the pro-71 progressive parties,
Yeah.
they're excluding all of this. Anything that has a bit of a, semblance of the 71 or that ideology, they're trying to cut it off from the Bangladesh's political space. So this is what the objective they have, and they're going ahead with that. So definitely we have to fight back. We have to
Right.
fight back, and we have to win against this evil force, right? And
Yeah.
to get the power back to the people of the country, and we have to do anything that is required to return to democracy. And this is the only goal that we have at this moment.
Right. So would you then not consider the results of such an election, if they do happen,
I
to be
mean, I mean,
legitimate?
this is yes, this is not an election at all. I mean, they don't need to actually hold any election because it's only BNP and Jamaat together. They can just sit down together and distribute the seats. They don't need to even hold an election just to show off the people in globally that they're holding an election. It's not going to be an election. Election is all about a real contest, right? Where all the parties should participate. Awami League, Jatiya Party, 14 party alliance together represent more than 50% of the people, and you're excluding all of them. So it is not an election. So it's not going to be acceptable globally either. Nobody is going to accept this as an election. Of course, Awami League will not. The people of the country will also not going to accept it. So basically, for Yunus to seize the power and continuing with this, and then holding this election, it's all part of the bigger plan and the package. So we have to defeat the whole process to bring back. So election is not something which is something special. It is part of the whole thing. It's one of the components of the whole conspiracies. So we have to undermine and negate the whole thing to get the power back to the people. So whether or not the election is held really doesn't matter.
Right. Sir, I happened to cover the January 7, 2024 elections in Bangladesh. I was there. One could argue that in that elections, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, which is a very big political party, it has also been in power in your country, did not participate, chose not to participate in the polls.
Yes.
And Jamaat was barred by your Supreme Court from participating in the polls. So, what really has changed between January 7, 2024 and sometime in February 2026 in terms of everybody, not all political players not participating in the polls? People looking at Bangladesh from outside, also from inside, might argue that this is not a new thing when a prominent political party is not included in the polls. So what would your response be to that criticism?
See, it's very clear. The thing is, during our tenure, all the elections were inclusive.
Right.
All the elections were inclusive. The reason I want to call all the elections inclusive, because no political party were blocked or barred from taking part in the election. The government, the administration, the election commission, all they can do is create an environment where everyone can come and participate. That was the environment that prevailed during our time. So BNP could come and participate. We repeatedly requested them also to come and participate in the election, but they did not. So they chose not to participate. But you cannot force a party to come and participate, right? But you can force a party to exclude, which has been happening in our case, right? But you cannot force to come and participate, right? And as far as the Jamaat is concerned, Jamaat's registration got cancelled, not by the executive authority, not by our government.
By the Supreme Court.
It was a public interest litigation.
Yes.
Some citizens went to the court, and then they raised the issue of Jamaat's constitution, which was, they had certain components there, which was completely contradictory to the basic principle of our constitution of the country. So on that particular ground, their registration got cancelled, right? So that has nothing to do with the government. But even if their registration was cancelled, they could still participate in the election through BNP, and they did so in 2018. They were not blocked or barred from that either. So during our tenure, all the elections were inclusive, but some of the elections were not participatory because BNP chose not to participate. But what is happening now is totally different. That is, they're going ahead with a rigged, pre-arranged election, where they're blocking Awami League, Jatiyo Party, and many other smaller political parties, which might be smaller, but they're very old and the traditional parties, like pro-71 progressive parties. So it's a completely two different scenario. It cannot be comparable, right? What happened during our time and now. And also, why BNP did not participate in during our time? Because they knew that they could not defeat Awami League in an election. Awami League was very popular. Especially Sheikh Hasina was very popular. So because they knew they could not defeat Awami League and Sheikh Hasina, therefore they chose to take a different path of not participating in the election and rather creating a controversy around it and not giving the legitimacy to the election. This is what that was part of the political game they played basically. So if you look in 2023, there was a survey released by the IRI, and in that survey, you saw that the approval rating of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was 70%. 70% is a huge approval rating because Sheikh Hasina had a performance mandate from the people, because the way she enhanced the well-being of the people of the country through the economic development, and also, the way she came out to be the best crisis manager dealing with the COVID situation and those kind of situation. And people had this confidence in her. So they always supported her and she had the mandate. So therefore, there was no way for BNP to come into the election and defeat her. Therefore, they chose that path of creating controversy and not to give her the legitimacy. And they still talk about those things. And now, after 2024, 5th August, they said they're going to bring back the democracy, the elections, the rule of law, all kind of stuff. And what they're doing here is excluding more than 50% of the people, and then which is not an election. The election is not needed at all. They should just, go and capture the parliament, distributing the seats among themselves. So it is absolutely evident to any sane person who can see this truth.
So the proposed February polls have generated interest not just in Bangladesh and India, but also in some foreign missions, and very publicly on social media among former diplomats who are opining on the proposed polls and saying that this will lead Bangladesh towards the path of electoral democracy. How do you react to them? How do you react to former diplomats who might have served in Bangladesh in various capacities taking such interest in February polls? Do you think that what I'm asking you is the interim government and the election commission in charge of matters of state inside Bangladesh, or do you see a lot of foreign players now being involved?
I think some of the foreign players have been made involved into the process. And this has been a old game that Yunus always played. He has some of his friends internationally, and he previously also used them as tools to create some reference in his favor, so that he can use that to show the world that, okay, whatever he's doing is right. But even a eighth grader would know that the election that Yunus is going ahead with is not an election. It is not going to be participated by all the parties. So therefore, calling that election, a democratic transition is a complete lie. So whoever is saying that, it's good that in that process we get to know some of the characters who are basically getting exposed in that process, who used to outcry for democracy, rule of law, and all that. But when time comes, they show their real character. So it is easier for us to identify those people, those who are hiding behind all those catchwords and catchphrases, nice words and all that. But now, through their behavior, it is getting clear to the people of the country and also to the rest of the world.
Right. Sir, whoever I've been speaking to in Bangladesh, people invested in Bangladesh's political process have told me that at the very least, Army League still has a 30% vote in Bangladesh even today, if there were to be snap polls. Now, the Army League's political activities are banned. Your youth organization, Chhatro League, students organization, Chhatro League is banned. In case the polls happen, who do you think will get that vote with Army League if Army League is not present in the elections? Would you like to hazard a guess who might get
See,
that vote?
see if the elections is held, excluding this more than 50% of the people, or the
Yeah.
political parties who represent the more than 50% of the people, then people are not going to come and vote because it's going to be meaningless for them, because there'll be no excitement also. Like during our tenure also, why we would repeatedly request BNP to come into the election. Even I also participated 2 elections, right?
Yeah.
And I did not have BNP as my opposition, which I actually wanted to have, because without having the strong opposition
Yeah.
participating in the elections become very dull. Even your voters, forget about the others' voter. Your voters are also not very interested to come and turn up to poll, because they think you're going to win anyway, right? So I always wanted, even in my elections, to have a strong candidate against me. That's how election becomes, very competitive, and that's how election becomes interesting. And that's how it's easier to get your voters also to turn up. Else it becomes difficult. See, elections without the real opposition, it is rather difficult. People don't understand it. I do understand because I have participated in 2 elections for myself, right? In one, the by-election and the general election, the national election, I mean. So in an election like one-sided election like that, when Awami League is not there, Jatiya Party is not there, majority of the major political forces are not there. Forget about the voters who would vote for us. They would not even come out of their homes, right? The voters, those who would vote for the other parties, they also would not get interested to to come and vote. Why would they want to come and stand in the line for hours and then go and vote when they already know the result is predetermined? They already know what the result is going to come out. So, and we're also going to appeal to the voters, to our voters and everybody else, that do not vote, because this is the way to reject this kind of farce, this kind of sham. See, a few days back, the Bangladesh Youth Leadership Center, they came out with a survey, right? And the target audience was 18 to 35 years old, right? In
Right.
that particular target audience, and those who are below 35. See, BNP got around 19% and Jamaat got around 16%, right? So
Right.
Awami League got around 10% in that survey. But 17% in that survey, they said they have decided who they're going to vote for, but they did not reveal. This
Yeah.
all 17% is Awami League voters. This all 17% is Awami League voters. So if you add that 17% to that 10%, it becomes 27%, right? So Awami and Jamaat or NCP, they should have no reason not to reveal who they are going to vote for. It is only that's been created in Bangladesh. Many of them would not dare to express their opinion about supporting Awami League. So those who have decided but did not reveal, if you add that up to the Awami League, so 27%. Now 30% voters, they're saying they are undecided. Why would they be undecided? Why the 30% is a big number? The so-called uprising, the revolution, then people should already know who they like. Why are they confused? Because in the last 15 and a half months, they saw what happened in this country and what is happening. That's why they're confused and undecided. And among that 30% also, I can tell you, at least 5 to 7%, those who actually want to vote for Awami League, but they're just saying that they're undecided. So add that up together. Even today, Awami League has more than 35% support from the people who are under 35, like the Gen Z. And above 35 age group, historically, majority of the older generation have always been the supporters of Awami League. If you include all the voters from 18 to above, 18 and above, without limiting the age group, right? The barring it, I can tell you more than 50% will vote for Awami League and its allies. This is the situation right now. And this is why Yunus, backed by all these Islamists and the extremists, are barring and blocking Awami League from participating in the election. What the rhetorics they always, tells around and all that Awami League got rejected by the people. If they would have believed it, they would take this opportunity to allow Awami League participate in the election and be rejected by the people. But they believed exactly the opposite. They know if Awami League participate in the election, they'll come back in power with the mandate of the people. That's why they're artificially, forcefully, by amending the law and illegally doing it, they're forcing Awami League to exclude it from the election. That's why they're doing it. That is their biggest fear.
Right. Sir, interestingly, you mentioned the word jihadist. I mean, Yunus coming to power with the help of jihadist forces,
Yes.
and also enabling those forces while in power. What is the worry for India? We have had a blast in Delhi. There has been an explosion in Srinagar today. There has been this constant flow of news reports that Bangladesh now very openly is closing up to Pakistan. Armed forces personnel are going to Dhaka. Senior members of your military are going to Pakistan. The Pakistan Navy chief was in Bangladesh recently. Some of the fundamentalist groups have been openly spewing anti-India hate. So what does it mean for India if the interim government, or if the February elections do happen, the government that comes to power keeps on enabling those jihadist forces? What does it mean
See,
for India? Also, what direction, according to you, does the India-Bangladesh relationship take then?
okay. See, during the July-August in 2024, during that time, during that riot and all that,
Yeah.
Do you remember that there was a prison break?
Yeah.
800 prisoners were taken out.
Yes.
There was
Yes.
a looting of ammunitions, and all
Yes.
the top-notch jihadists and the terrorists were taken out.
Yeah.
And they mobilized all the terrorists together to attack on the government machineries and the
Yeah.
government
The
institutions.
police. Yeah.
So yes, so basically it was all participated, or I would say the infiltrated. It started off with the students' quota movement in the beginning, which we accepted
Yeah.
all of their demands, but still they
Yeah.
continued to carry on with this, and they allowed this the third party to infiltrate and all those. And it is getting. I used to say that time with all the international media. Many people would not connect to what I'm trying to say, but now it is becoming so evident. Everything that I said is coming out to light. All the jihadists are now becoming prominent in the political space in Bangladesh, and they're clearly saying that the jihadists and the terrorist group from Pakistan, they're saying they want to use Bangladesh as a launching pad to attack India and all that. So, in my opinion, to go back to your question, you said what is it for India? So, I think as far as the security is concerned, and the protection from the jihadists and the extremists and terrorists is goes. I don't want to isolate India's interest here separately from that of Bangladesh's interest. I think we have a mutual interest here together. For the regional security, I think both Bangladesh and India together, we are threatened by this jihadist and extremist group and the people of both the countries. And I think it's not about the politics or the political party or the government. I think for the best interest of the people of both the sides, both the countries together, we have to create an environment where this evil force cannot operate, right? If we allow them to operate, who are going to be the victim at the end of the day? You mentioned about the bomb, the car bomb blast in Delhi. Who are the
Yeah.
victim? The politicians? People in the government? No, the general people. Same is true when it happens in Bangladesh. So look at the people. Do you think people would want that to happen because of the petty interests of the Pakistani establishment? See, Bangladesh got independent in 1971, rejecting all the ideas of the Pakistani military establishment. We came into being to become a democratic country, a modern country, a secular country, right? We never believed in that Pakistani style of, idea that we have to consider our neighboring country, especially India, as an enemy country. And this is how they could manage to instigate some people there back in their country and manage to, stay in the power, depriving
Right.
the people from democracy. So this is the petty interest they have. And some people fall for it. But our idea was that no, we will have to focus our politics and diplomacy, keeping the interest of the people of the countries to the top. So the more you collaborate between the neighboring countries, the more you have a cooperation, better you create an environment where people are the final beneficiary, not anybody else. This is the whole idea of it. We wanted to see the diplomacy among Bangladesh and India and everything through the lens of 1971, not through the lens of the Pakistani military establishment. So here, I don't want to isolate India, and I want to answer your question about what is going to happen to India. Even Bangladesh is going to go down the destruction path if this is happening. Look at what happened when Sheikh Hasina was the prime minister, and she still is, I believe. But anyway, when she was in the office, the cooperation between India and Bangladesh, so many things has happened. Many of the people, run some false propaganda with all of this. But just look at academically, if you look at all the treaties and the MOUs that we signed, who became the beneficiary? The people of both the countries at the end of the day. So that is the lens we want to see through to have the diplomatic relationship and cooperation, collaboration, not this kind of Pakistani backward, primitive style of ideas of all this. India is a enemy country, and we have to deploy all the jihadists and extremists. Those who will going to use Bangladesh as a launching pad. They did that also before, between 2001 to 2006. You know that. What happened?
Yeah.
Who were the victim? The people of Bangladesh were the victim. All the bomb blasts, who died? The people, the general people died. What happened when the Holy Artisan, the Dhaka attack took place? Who died? The general people died. So therefore, the politics of positivity, the politics of positive diplomacy, where at the end of the day, the idea is to benefit the people, not to any political party or any government or anyone whatsoever. This was the idea of diplomacy of Sheikh Hasina. And those who are somehow, don't understand this, or some people do understand it, but still they misinterpret just to misguide the people and create some kind of a Pakistani narrative about India and all that, right? And try to misguide people and instigate them. And you know that it's been happening,
Right.
right? So everything that we have done as an independent and sovereign country, with an equal footing, we have had a very respectable relationship with India. Just imagine the land boundary agreement, the maritime boundary resolutions. Based on all those issues, neighboring country fight war in different parts of the world. But see how so peacefully, through discussion, Bangladesh and India has solved all of these issues.
Yeah.
And not only that, they went ahead of cooperation and adding more value to the benefit of the people of both the sides. They should rather be an example, and fighting the jihadist and the extremist it's our mutual interest. It is not the interest of India. It is our mutual interest. This is how I want to see it.
Right. So on the question of putting forth a Pakistani narrative inside Bangladesh, interestingly, the Jamaat was seen during 1971 as a very pro-Pakistani side. That was their stated aim. But there is a, the Jamaat Amer has recently said, I was listening to a video clip where he has said sorry to people of Bangladesh for any mistakes of the past. And interestingly, somebody in the audience asked him if it included 1971, to which he said, "Why just 1971? Why not before and after?" So he's saying sorry for everything that has happened in the past. Now, there was some concern in India, also in Bangladesh, when the Jamaat student wing, Shibir, won the Daksu election, which is the Dhaka University Students' Union election. There have been reports that the Jamaat has become very powerful within Bangladesh. It has captured various institutions. Do you think that the two questions basically, how do you see the new Jamaat? Is there a new Jamaat with new ideas which will disassociate from the 1971 past? And do you also think that Jamaat has become very powerful in Bangladesh right now?
Okay, see, first of all, I don't consider Jamaat-e-Islami as a pro-Pakistani political party,
Okay.
because they are not. They are a Pakistani political party operating in Bangladesh.
Okay.
For you to be a pro-Pakistani, you have to be a Bangladeshi group of people or an organization who can be a pro-Pakistani organization, but they are not Bangladeshi in the first place, because they were Pakistani back in 1971. They collaborated with the Pakistani army, and they killed 3 million people of the people of this land. They joined hand with the Pakistani army, committing all kind of crimes, including rapes. So that is Jamaat-e-Islami. Their headquarters is in Lahore. Their leader, Ghulam Azam, until 1977, he tried to get the independent Bangladesh back to East Pakistan and together join together with Pakistan. So
Right.
it is a Pakistani political party, unfortunately operating in Bangladesh, and because they are using and look, with the Pakistani army surrendering in 1971, 16 December, right? Jamaat-e-Islami, which were playing the role of the auxiliary force with the Pakistani
Yeah.
army, right? They also surrendered.
Yeah.
They also surrendered. So it's a defeated force. They were defeated. It was unfortunate for our people that 1975, 15 August, the father of the nation were assassinated with most of his family members. And then the General Zia, he brought Jamaat-e-Islami back to the politics in Bangladesh. And then they started gaining ground in Bangladesh. So they're operating here, serving the interests of Pakistan. Now it is too late for them to get Bangladesh back to Pakistan and join together. That's why their goal is to turn Bangladesh into East Pakistan. Right? This is what they're trying to do. And because they use religion, they capitalize on the religious sentiment. So some people get fooled, unfortunately. And with regard to the Daksu and other elections, they are all completely rigged. So they have captured and seized all the state machineries and the institutions, educational institutions, and they're operating from inside like that, right? They do not have the mandate or support from the people. They'll never have, because they're not. It's Jamaat-e-Islami is not a political party. that belongs to Bangladesh. There's a defeated force. They were not only participated in the war crime, they opposed the very liberation of this country. This is a kind of thing that cannot go away with seeking a forgiveness. It is beyond that, right? They do not have any right to be into politics in Bangladesh. If they want to, do their politics, they should go back to Pakistan and do it. This is how I see that. Or anyone in Bangladesh, even those who are born after 1971, if they still hold on to that similar ideology and still believe that what their leaders like Ghulam Azam and everybody else, the war criminals, whatever their role was back in 1971, if they comply with the same idea and believe aligned with the same idea and think what they did was right, then they're also the Razakar of modern Bangladesh. Just because they were born after 71 doesn't give them this benefit of not being Razakar, because they believe in the same idea, right? So we need to be fighting this idea. It's an evil idea, because there are many I would say the problems with this political party. First of all, it's an extremist political party, which is not a good idea for a modern politics. Secondly, they capitalize on the religious sentiment, another bad idea. And the constitution, there are many components in the constitution when it comes to the leadership for the women or the minorities. There are certain issues which does not go with the basic principles of Bangladesh's constitution. And secondly, they opposed the liberation of Bangladesh. They committed war crime. With so many things together, one party, how can you allow this party to, take part into the democratic process? And they do not believe in democracy anyway. They want to bring in the Sharia law in Bangladesh. This is not what people want in Bangladesh, right? Sharia law is not Islam. People of Bangladesh, majority of the people, those who are Muslim, they believe in religion, they believe in Islam, they believe in, they are fearful of God, but they do not subscribe to the idea of the Islam that Jamaat Islam preach. It's something different.
Right. Finally, sir, a very important judgment on Sheikh Hasina is coming. How are you as a party bracing up for that? What will it affect? How will it affect Awami League? And what is the roadmap that you are thinking of after the judgment comes? There have been some voices within Bangladesh that have even called for a death penalty for Sheikh Hasina. So how do you see that, and what would be your reaction and the program ahead?
See, all those things actually don't matter, because everything that is happening is only the reason why the anti-liberation force and the extremist jihadist force, they have seized the power. They captured all the institution. Even the International Crime Tribunal that has been reconstituted, and with what kind of people that? The prosecution team, along with the chief prosecutor, they used to be the defender of the war criminals, right? They were linked with the AB party, which is an offshoot of Jamaat Islami. So they have formed and constituted this ICT. And the judges are also, one of the judges was never a judge. He never performed a judicial responsibility before. He was appointed as the judge in the High Court only 6 days before he was placed in the International Crime Tribunal. And he was linked with the BNP politics. So this is basically a revenge project that they are taking up. Just imagine the same prosecution team in the same International Crime Tribunal, they released a known self-proclaimed war criminal like ATM Azharul Islam, a Jamati leader, who contributed to the killing of 1,400 people along with the Pakistani army back in 1971. That real war criminal got released from the same ICT, right? So it is a political setup, it's a political show. They're staging a drama, and they're taking a revenge against the daughter of the father of the nation, against the people, those who fought this Bangladesh to come into being. Their revenge is why Bangladesh got independent and separated from Pakistan. They're taking that revenge, basically. And people are getting to understand this very clearly, gradually. It is getting very, very clearer to the people. They're opposed to the very national anthem of Bangladesh. They're opposed to all the tradition and cultures of Bengali cultures. They're opposed to any ideas that has to do with liberation war or any artifact or anything, they go and destroy all of this. They want to replace 71 with the so-called July, so that they never have to take the blame for 71. So all those things are absolutely so clear to the people. So now, no point talking about the elections under Yunus or whatever Yunus is doing, backed by this jihadists and the Islamists, whatever they're doing, all this ICT, the whole thing will, everything will turn around when we will defeat them again. We have to be able to defeat this evil force with the support of the people politically. And then everything will be okay. Before that, in bits and pieces with each of these components is not going to help us do anything, because it has got captured by this very evil force who are opposed
My
to our
last
liberation. Yes.
Right. My last question to you, sir. There has been a call for Dhaka shutdown. There are protests planned for the coming days ahead. Do you see protests by the Awami League workers and supporters on the ground in Bangladesh intensifying in the coming days to in the run up to the elections?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It's going to intensify, and it's not only by the activists of the Awami League, but also the activists of other political parties, and that you'll see the participation of the general people very soon. Actually, in the last lockdown, you saw that general people participated. We just called for it, and they supported it, and they made it happen. It became successful. So, because people are getting to realize how they were betrayed and they were fooled, in 5th August 2024. So people are there, and look at the Yunus and the kind of, the camouflage that he takes. A sweet talker with a smiley face, but lots of malice deep inside his heart. The facade of a nice person who talks about democracy and all kind of stuff. But, in 15 months, it was, I think, needed also to expose this character. And he talks about all this, interesting stuff, like he's going to send the poverty to the museum. But, what happened to the poverty? When he's taking charge, though illegally and unconstitutionally, but still he was in charge. What happened to the poverty? People are not only seeing it, people are feeling it. People are feeling it. The lack of security, the lack of employment, the lack of economic progress, lack of discipline, lack of everything. So people are going to come back and with their realization and support us, and we'll bring the country back to the people.
Well, very last question, sir. I see on Facebook several posts saying that mass uprising will happen, like in July, August 2024, very soon in Bangladesh. Do you see that happening?
See, July 2024, I wouldn't call it the mass uprising. There was an infiltration by the jihadists and the extremists who started killing the police and the government establishment. They were, they were killing the police and attacking the government establishments, and then they started killing people, the students, through the snipers. Now all those things are coming out. Even the kids, they're staying at home. They killed those kids. Just tell me one thing: if you're in the government, why on earth you want to go and target the kids who are staying at home? Are they a threat to you? Are they taking the street and protesting? So who got the benefit of killing those kids? Creating, this kind of emotional excitement to the people against the government. So now people are getting to realize that just to enrage the people and creating that kind of rage among them against our government, they killed people and piled up the dead bodies. So it is getting more clearer now to the people. So that was a conspiracy, and what you saw is the output of that. And now what you're going to see is a genuine and real uprising. What you can see in the future is happening against this tyrant Yunus and all this nexus of the jihadist and the extremist.
Mr. Arafat, you gave us a lot of time, took a lot of questions. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you also very much.